And I just want to say how excited I am about the folks on this stage, the coalition we've built, the approach that we're taking to this bill. This is a bicameral lift where the Assembly and the Senate are working hand in hand to help make our criminal justice system more just and to end a practice that has existed for too long in California where we punish poor people simply for being poor. And today we start on a journey for justice that will help make the appropriate reforms and provide more justice in the lives of Californians throughout the state. And make no mistake, while we increase justice for individuals throughout the state, we will also make our public more safe as well and increase public safety. Right now we have a system where if you're at risk of failing to appear at your next hearing, or you're a risk to the public, but you have enough money in your pocket, you can post bail and get out of jail. But if you're not a risk of failing to appear for your next hearing, and you're not a risk to the public, but you don't have enough money in your pocket, you stay in jail. And when you stay in jail, the human impacts are enormous. And Senator Hertzberg talked about a couple of those, and we'll have some testimonials from individuals who've actually been through California's unfortunate bail process to share that. But it could range. You could lose your job because you're in jail and you can't show up for work. You can lose your car because it's in a time-limited spot and you can't pay for it. You could lose your home or apartment because you can't make payments. You could possibly even lose your children, for example, if you're an only parent and there's no one at home to take care of your kids because you're in jail. And that is wrong. That is fundamentally wrong to base our justice system on how much money is in your pocket and how much wealth you have.
I was falsely accused of something. I went to jail for 5 days. When I got out of jail, through the bail process, through the situation, my bail was $165,000 initially. And then through the arraignment, my bail got to be down to $85,000. And that's after I had hundreds of letters of people in my community coming out in my support and saying that I was a decent human being. And even still, inside the courtroom, the district attorney said that, oh, it seems like he's a threat to society, and the judge went with that. I was still criminalized based on these false charges. After spending 5 days in jail, it kind of dawned on me that if my mother had not had stepped up with her taking money out of her retirement account, someone who's worked for the Postal Service for 25 years, where we've lived poor, scraping by, all that time, for her to take out money so that I can be there for my family, so I can support my family while I'm waiting to go to pretrial where the charges were dropped. And with the support of organizations like Debug, I was really happy that I was able to get that support, but not everybody has that opportunity.
There are a few situations that's difficult, as when you get that phone call from someone you love saying they were falsely arrested and are on the verge of losing everything if you can't bail them out. My baby brother is a young black male that has fallen prey to the system. He was picked up outside of our family home because the police said he resembled someone who was reported doing robberies in our community. We waited for 2 weeks before the court set bail. When bail was finally set, they did not consider the fact that he was 3 credits away from just a few months of finishing school. They didn't look at the fact that he had no resources. They didn't listen or see the women, the family, his sister, me, his mother, his aunts and cousins, who ultimately had to pay that cost. Instead, the judges set bail for $45,000. When you leave the court, the first thing you see is bail agents. They tell you if you give them a non-refundable fee of 10%, your loved one can come home. $4,500 may not seem like a lot, but for a family like ours, it may as well have been $10 million. Everyone acted as though this was normal, so I thought it must be my fault that I couldn't bail my brother out. To this day, I live with immense guilt and sadness over my failure to pull together that money. I didn't make bail for him. And sadly to say, the charges were dropped. And with that, my brother just gave up hope. And he, having spent 4 months behind bars for something he never did, it's awful.
And if you are not convinced and persuaded by the moral imperative of making this change, think about the fiscal imperative. Right now, over 50%, a majority of individuals in our jails in California are there pre-trial. They have not been convicted of anything at that point, and they're sitting there at the cost of $100 a day collectively throughout the state of California each day, $4.5 million. If we can provide assurances through pretrial services and oversight that will allow those individuals to get out of jail, be reunited with their families, work at their job, that money can be used for other public safety initiatives or health care or better education for our kids in California. So there are a lot of benefits for the state that will come from making the reforms that we're seeking today. And again, I'm just super excited to be with this amazing group of individuals who have come here today on day one of the legislative session to stand up and say, we're with you on this journey for justice. We're marching down that path together. We're going to make our criminal justice system more just, and it starts today.